Found footage is a subgenre that gets a lot of undue hate. I find that there are quite a few good found footage horror films. In this video, I'll be counting down my top 10 favorite found footage horror films. So sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel, and enjoy the video. Coming in at number 10 is Cannibal Holocaust. This film was released in 1980, so it's the granddaddy of all found footage horror films. The reason why it's so low on this list is primarily because of the real animal killings. With that said, I do feel like it's a very important horror film and a very important found footage film. It really laid the groundwork for what found footage would become. Gore and the practical effects on display in this film are so great to the point that the director was actually charged with murder because people thought it was a real snuff film. This is not an entertaining movie. It's dark, it's depraved, and it's really intense. Coming in at number 9 is a film that gets a lot of hate, which is Paranormal Activity. And I feel like the reason why it gets a lot of hate is because it really ushered in a lot of more low-tier found footage films that would follow after it, trying to cash in on the found footage craze. With that said, this was an awesome film to see in theaters. To get that initial reaction from the crowd and be there on opening night was a ton of fun. And on a rewatch, it's still an enjoyable film. And to see how much they were able to do with such a limited budget is really great for indie filmmakers. It shows that with creativity and being able to use what's around you can really make a film work. And considering it's a pretty bloodless film, it is still a film that keeps you on the edge of your seat, especially that first time you watch it. Coming in at number 8 is a really underrated found footage film, which is As Above, So Below. I feel like this movie is almost like if Indiana Jones was a horror film. I really like the set design in this movie. There's some really good action scenes, and the effects that go on in this film mixed in with the practical effects, I feel like they work pretty well. The cast is overall likable, and I wasn't really anticipating some of the twists and turns that came along. I also really like the fact that we're following this archaeologist who is uncovering all of these secrets in the Paris catacombs, which is already a creepy setting. This is one of those found footage films that really flew under the radar and got lumped in with the found footage films that weren't so good. Coming in at number 7 is The Poughkeepsie Tapes. I was really looking forward to this film releasing in theaters, but it unfortunately never got a theatrical release. However, I did see it on YouTube probably a year after it was supposed to come out, and this film scared the hell out of me. This is a very disturbing film that really got under my skin, but this one is so unnerving, and it's all shot from the perspective of a serial killer, and it's his tapes where he's torturing all of his victims. Along with that, we have this documentary style film that's wrapped around it, and although we never see the killer's face in this film, he's so creepy because of his voice and how much joy he's getting out of killing and torturing people. If you do end up checking out this film, prepare to sleep with the lights on. Coming in at number 6 is Hell House LLC. This was a film that I caught on Shudder one day, and I was really surprised at how good it is. The sequels aren't as great, but the first film is fantastic. This follows a group of haunters who go and open up this new haunt called Hell House, and during this time they're documenting them setting up this entire haunt, and there are some random goings on happening around this house that they're staying in, building the haunt around. There are some really great scares, some really great suspense. This film really creeped me out. I was looking over my shoulder while I was watching it, and it was one of those movies that made me really want to sleep with the lights on. Coming in at number 5 is Grave Encounters. Full disclosure, I didn't see this film until very recently. I finally got around to watching it because I've heard so many good things about it, and I had a blast with this film. It starts out really funny and goofy, and I was laughing a lot, especially at the antics and how the crew all get along with each other. By the midway point and to the end, it gets really, really dark. This is basically about a film crew who is going out to try to find real ghosts, kind of like those reality shows of ghost hunters. This is basically a parody of that, but it's done really, really well. I like the cast a lot. It was a ton of fun to watch, and it did a great job of really encapsulating what those ghost hunter reality shows are like. Coming in at number 4 is one of my favorite horror anthologies, and that is VHS 2. This film all around is really solid. It's very rare that you find an anthology film that every segment is done really well. The segments by Gareth Evans, Adam Wingard, and Eduardo Sanchez are by far my favorites, and I feel like the rapper in this film is a lot better than the first film. My favorite segment is easily Gareth Evans' segment, Safe Haven, which is absolutely fantastic. If you've seen The Raid and The Raid 2, then you know that he is an incredible director. Also, the segment by Eduardo Sanchez, where you're seeing the first-person view from a zombie chasing people down and eating them, is awesome. Every segment has awesome blood, gore, and practical effects. You're not going to be bored in this film because each segment has something for everyone. So definitely check this one out if you haven't seen it. And if you haven't seen it in a while, definitely give it a revisit. It's well worth a watch. Coming in at number 3 is The Blair Witch Project. This is a film that I saw opening night with my brother, and prior to that, I was online looking at the website, trying to figure out the clues, and even after I saw the film, I still went on the website. I was obsessed with this movie when it first came out, and at the time, a lot of us thought it was real. This was the first time where a viral campaign was done, and I have to say, the film is still effective. It's very creepy. It shows what found footage was going to be in the future, and it was one of those films that showed that with a limited budget, a lot can be done with creativity and an interesting idea. Over the years since its release, it's gotten some flack for not being scary. But when I saw this in theaters and my subsequent rewatches over the years, I feel that it's still a very creepy and haunting film. Coming in at number 2 is Wreck. This is a Spanish language film, and it is really terrifying. It's fantastic, and the pacing is so tight. I highly recommend checking out this film rather than Quarantine, and the rest of the Wreck franchise is actually not bad. This film takes place inside of an apartment complex, and we have a news reporter with her cameraman, and she goes along with a group of firemen to what they think is a routine call. And when they get there, they find that there's a woman who is covered in blood, and she seems completely off her rocker, ends up biting one of the police officers, and from there, the entire apartment gets locked down to contain this disease that is taking over this apartment complex. The acting is believable, the suspense is palpable, and it is such a frenetic film. Definitely check this one out. It should be at the top of your list if you've never seen it. And finally, coming in at number 1 is Creep. This is another film that surprised the hell out of me. I hadn't really heard very much about it, and when I watched it, I was kicking myself for not watching it sooner. And even Creep 2 is really well done as well. This stars Mark Duplass and Patrick Bryce, and at first, Mark Duplass's character Joseph seems like a really sincere guy who hires Aaron to make a video diary for him, basically for $1,000 for the day, saying that he's putting together this video for his unborn son. But as the day goes on, it becomes very clear that Joseph is not who he says he is, and his intentions are totally nefarious. It's both hilarious and scary at the same time. It's a dark comedy with really sharp wit. Mark Duplass is so entertaining on screen, and as you see the story unfold from the point of view of Aaron as he's filming everything, it's so engaging, and you never know what's going to happen next. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you guys next time.